I am continuing my reading. What I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am reading in a chronological order of events, not according to publication or volume, so I will be skipping around a bit as I move along. We continue in Mosiah here. Our last reading was about the people of Alma, how the Lamanites, when they were chasing the people of Limhi, get lost. They find the priests of Noah, and they all get lost together until they find Alma, and he shows them how to get back to Nephi. And then the Lamanites put the people of Alma into bondage in the land of Helam. So we continue this. Remember, by this time, Limhi and his people are already back in Zarahemla. They've already joined up with Zarahemla. So now we pick this up in chapter 24, and we will read about Alma and his people. Amulon persecutes Alma and his people. They are to be put to death if they pray. The Lord makes their burdens seem light. He delivers them from bondage, and they return to Zarahemla. And it came to pass that Amulon did gain favor in the eyes of the king of the Lamanites. Therefore the king of the Lamanites granted unto him and his brethren that they should be appointed teachers over his people, yea, even over the people who were in the land of Shemlon, and in the land of Shilom, and in the land of Amulon. For the Lamanites had taken possession of all these lands. Therefore the king of the Lamanites had appointed kings over all these lands. And now the name of the king of the Lamanites was Laman, being called after the name of his father. And therefore he was called King Laman, and he was king over a numerous people. And he appointed teachers of the brethren of Amulon in every land which was possessed by his people. And thus the language of Nephi began to be taught among all the people of the Lamanites. And they were a people friendly one with another. Nevertheless, they knew not God. Neither did the brethren of Amulon teach them anything concerning the Lord their God, and neither the law of Moses, nor did they teach them the words of Abinadi. But they taught them that they should keep their record, and that they might write one to another. And thus the Lamanites began to increase in riches, and began to trade one with another, and wax great, and began to be a cunning and a wise people, as to the wisdom of the world. Yea, a very cunning people, delighting in all manner of wickedness and plunder, except it were among their own brethren. And now it came to pass that Amulon began to exercise authority over Alma and his brethren, and began to persecute him, and cause that his children should persecute their children. For Amulon knew Alma, that he had been one of the king's priests, and that it was he that believed the words of Abinadi, and was driven out before the king, and therefore he was wroth with him. For he was subject to King Laman, yet he exercised authority over them, and put tasks upon them, and put taskmasters over them. And it came to pass that so great were their afflictions, that they began to cry mightily to God. And Amulon commanded them that they should stop their cries, and he put guards over them to watch them, that whosoever should be found calling upon God should be put to death. And Alma and his people did not raise their voices to the Lord their God, but did pour out their hearts to him, and he did know the thoughts of their hearts. And it came to pass that the voice of the Lord came to them in their affliction, saying, Lift up your heads, and be of good comfort, for I know of the covenant which ye have made unto me, and I will covenant with my people, and deliver them out of bondage. And I will also ease the burdens which are put upon your shoulders, that even you cannot feel them upon your backs, even while you are in bondage. And this will I do, that ye may stand as witnesses for me hereafter, and that ye may know of a surety that I, the Lord God, do visit my people in their afflictions. And now it came to pass that the burdens which were laid upon Alma and his brethren were made light. Yea, the Lord did strengthen them, that they could bear up their burdens with ease. And they did submit cheerfully and with patience to all the will of the Lord. And it came to pass that so great was their faith and their patience, that the voice of the Lord came unto them again, saying, Be of good comfort, for on the morrow I will deliver you out of bondage. And he said unto Alma, Thou shalt go before this people, and I will go with thee, and deliver this people out of bondage. Now it came to pass that Alma and his people in the night time gathered their flocks together, and also of their grain, yea, even all the night time were they gathering their flocks together. And in the morning the Lord caused a deep sleep to come upon the Lamanites, yea, and all their taskmasters were in a profound sleep. And Alma and his people departed into the wilderness, and when they had traveled all day, they pitched their tents in a valley, and they called the valley Alma, because he led their way in the wilderness. Yea, and in the valley of Alma they poured out their thanks to God, because he had been merciful unto them, and eased their burdens, and had delivered them out of the bondage. For they were in bondage, and none could deliver them except it were the Lord their God. And they gave thanks to God, yea, all their men, and all their women, and all their children that could speak, lifted their voices in the praises of their God. And now the Lord said unto Alma, Haste thee, and get thou and this people out of this land, for the Lamanites have awakened, and do pursue thee. Therefore get thee out of this land, and I will stop the Lamanites in this valley, that they come no further in pursuit of this people. And it came to pass that they departed out of the wilderness, and took their journey into the wilderness. And after they had been in the wilderness 12 days, they arrived in the land of Zarahemla, and King Mosiah did also receive them with joy. Now most people know the story of Alma and his people and their escape, how God puts them to sleep. There's been the comparison made between Limhi, who had to drug the Lamanites in order to get out, and Alma, whose faith was great enough that God just put all the Lamanites to sleep for him. But how many people remember that it is through Amulon that the Lamanites learn written language? They start keeping records. The king, he's now the king of the Lamanites, Laman, he is now in control of Helam, Nephi, Shilem, and Amulon, these lands that have been settled and cultivated. And now the people of Amulon, they are Nephites, but they are well-educated Nephites. They're the priests. And so he appoints them as teachers to teach the people. And what do they teach them? They teach them language. They teach them how to keep records. And what is the result? The result is a massive economic boom. The Lamanites start prospering in ways they never thought possible because they have the written language now. Now they don't teach them about God because, of course, Amulon doesn't really like God. But consider how much this would actually help the missionary efforts in later generations. Up to this point, there had been almost a constant attempt to preach to the Lamanites and reclaim them and teach them the true gospel, and it has always failed. Now they have written language. Now they have their own records. And not only that, it is the language of the Nephites that they're making their records in. They're not writing in the language of the Lamanites. How much easier does this make the missionary journeys in later generations? That the Lamanites are able to read the scriptures now. So even Amulon, who is an evil man, he is working unknowingly to further the will of God. That through his actions, it is setting up the Lamanites for the conversion that will take place among them. I leave that here. For the rest of the book of Mosiah, we will just be reading everything in order. So this was chapter 24, and we will be doing 25 next. So I will see you there.